thrive in the spotlight like our next guest. His work in the 1980s is really one of the most definitive guitar sounds around, especially his work with Billy Idol early on. I really can't wait to see what he's up to next. When he came into the studio, I expected a truck to back up full of effects and racks and all that stuff. And he came walking in with a little tiny amplifier, and wait till you see what happens. It's my privilege to introduce you to our very special guest this issue, Mr. Steve Stevens.
You know, a lot of kids have bad musical experiences where their parents didn't want them to play, but mine were really supportive. My dad drove me to all, you know, my auditions, and, you know, he would wait outside, and, you know, I was only like 14 or 15, and, you know, the other bands I was auditioning for, the guys were already, you know, 18, 19, and they'd say, hey, he's just a little kid, you know, and not knowing that he was my dad, you know, and my dad would say, well, wait till you hear that little kid play. I grew up in at that time, Far Rockaway was a community where people, you know, went to the beach. I don't know, take your life in your hands if you go there now, but so you could take acoustic guitars down to the beach and play Simon & Garfunkel things and Joni Mitchell. And, so really, my introduction to music was obviously on acoustic guitar. And the first show that I did go to see was John Fahey. I still don't think I've transformed from acoustic guitar to electric guitar because I think my approach, even on electric guitar, is very similar to acoustic. It's polyrhythmatical rhythm guitar. Even the way I solo is a rhythmatical series of riffs. I'm not what you would say a soloist in the way that I just interpret a series of notes. I have set patterns of things, and I like the way those patterns work against the rhythm structure that I'm playing in. That's why a lot of my solos are things where you have a series of notes, like 5 against 4 over chord changes. So I think that's something that still stayed with me as far as the acoustic to electric. My favorite guitarist still to this day, and probably always will be, is Curtis Mayfield. It's funny, you hear people like Jeff Beck talk about that, and Todd Rundgren. And it's because he says something with the guitar. I hear a lot of Curtis Mayfield in the Hendrix stuff. It moves me, you know. Just if I get emotional about some piece of music, there's very few guitarists that make me feel emotional about what they're doing. Jeff Beck obviously is one of them. Jimmy Page, Eddie Van Halen, yeah, because to me Eddie sounds like a guy who played 3 sets a night, and, you know, and he's still, to me, first and foremost, a fantastic rhythm guitar player. The things that people remember of Eddie Van Halen, the average listener knows Panama and things like that. And that's what I think guitarists are all about, is a rhythm. You know, the solos are just something to do in between the singing. trying to break the mold of people expecting a lot of effects and things from my guitar playing, and I really much rather everything emanate from my hands and the instrument itself. On the project that I'm working with now with Michael Monroe, it has similarities to the first germ of what I was doing with Billy Idol, but I think it's going to be much more rootsy and more kind of less dependent upon technology and more dependent upon the interplay between two people.